Throne and Liberty. Should I buy it, is the question. I'm BP1 from Britpops React. And we do gaming every now and again. Not very often, but we do. And I'm in the market for a new PC game. And I'm thinking, what should we do? Throne and Liberty. It was originally released in South Korea, and it's finally making its way into the Western markets through Amazon Games. And I thought, well, you know, what's this all about? The old shape-shifting and counter abilities. So we've got Gaming Bolt, who have 1.2 million subscribers, and they have done a final verdict. So let's watch the review. Come with me, and let's see. It's got some gameplay in it. If it's worth, you know, getting involved with or not. Let's go through it.
Amazon Games has been on something of a spree when it comes to bringing South Korean MMORPGs to the West. The company's first major attempt at this, Lost Ark, saw its fair share of mixed reception, being praised by players who appreciate its unique endgame systems and epic boss fights, while also being criticized by others for featuring the same level of grind and monetization that some MMORPGs have a reputation for. Fast forward to 2024, and we have the latest South Korean release into the Western MMORPG market in the form of Throne and Liberty.
I mean, the graphics look cool. You just don't want it to be too repetitive.
Is currently entering into a market that's essentially filled with entrenched players. Classics of the genre like World of Warcraft and others have taken up a gigantic chunk of the MMORPG market, while games like Destiny 2 have also swept up a chunk of MMO fans who might be more interested in action-oriented gameplay.
Yeah, that's it. I'm on the bridge of action.
Market, it has to offer something truly unique from other online games these days. And while the title does have some interesting ideas about PvE and PvP content, it ends up falling short on many counts.
Oh, okay. I mean, there's got to be enough there that it's not just a hack and slash the whole way.
When it comes to variety of content, Throne and Liberty offers up quite a few ways for players to spend their time, including the main quest, several side quests, and even tertiary activities like crafting, gathering, and fishing. The game also includes group content, including a series of dungeons that players can take on. Throne and Liberty offers up an interesting take on the classic MMORPG convention of classes with different roles that players can take on. Rather than locking a character into a specific class, and by extension a specific style of play, players instead have the freedom to switch their roles around depending on what they might be in the mood for.
Well, that's good. That's important, because yeah, sometimes you could just get bored.
Which in turn fills out their list of abilities. Players that prefer to keep enemy attention on themselves so that their teammates can focus on dealing damage might be drawn to the sword and shield, while wand and tome users can focus on healing their group, while bow or dagger users can kill off enemies with abilities that deal damage. This classless structure also has the side benefit of allowing gameplay during the early leveling process to remain fresh, since players can switch their weapons and by extension their entire skill set. If raining down fireballs on enemies is getting boring, you could always switch to the greatsword and get up close and personal with your opponents instead. The downside of this structure is that progression becomes harder the more you want to experiment. Different weapon users will find different types of armor useful after all, and if you're the kind of player that likes switching things around, you're going to be grinding quite a bit in order to craft the right set of equipment for your chosen roles. Playing the game as a solo adventurer feels like it's enough balance towards the player not really switching between different weapons, since you happen to find enough materials to keep one set of gear up to date.
It's quite a lot hack and slash, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, it's good that you've got the different roles when you're in the groups, and the scenery looks cool. I like the fact that everything's like active. It's not just dormant.
What should I do?
Another unique aspect of Throne and Liberty is that it allows all players to shapeshift into different animals.
Yeah, that's
Rather
cool.
than offering up any concrete gameplay bonuses in battle, like, for example, the Druid class in World of Warcraft, these shapeshifting abilities are more focused on allowing players to explore the world of Solicium in different ways.
And that's what you want.
Players can shapeshift into an otter, a hawk, or a large cat. These forms allow players more freedom and increase speed while exploring the world by water, air, or land respectively. Aside from this, however, the shapeshifting doesn't really offer anything new, and can essentially be looked at as Throne and Liberty's own take on mounts.
Fair enough.
When it comes to core gameplay, Throne and Liberty is a
Where's the
real-time
boss?
action
Where's
RPG
the big
with
bosses?
an interesting focus on being able to parry and counterattacks. Much like other MMOs, enemy attacks in Throne and Liberty tend to be telegraphed well, and players have the option of either moving around to avoid the attacks or to counter the attack without having to move at all. The system seems to be designed around making gameplay for the tank role more exciting, but ultimately feels rather underbaked, since the button to counterattack ends up feeling like yet another defensive ability that players will have to use anyway.
I always
While
find
interesting
that
in
it's
theory,
too much.
The counter system doesn't
I know
really
this
do
sounds
much
mad,
to
but you
distinguish
don't
the game
die
from its
enough.
competitors in any meaningful way.
It's just too easy. You keep going up to
One
the
of the
same
best
one.
things about
you
Throne
know.
and Liberty is its visuals, and it's hard to argue that Throne and Liberty doesn't look great. The character models
Oh, it
are
looks
all well
amazing
detailed,
for
allowing
that type for
armor
this
and
type of
clothing
game.
to look like they naturally belong to these characters. While the world itself can often be really fun to explore thanks to just how breathtaking it can end up
But
being.
if you're just slashing
game
wolves
offers
the
up a few
whole
zones that
game,
players can explore,
I
each
don't
offering a
know. I
different
just
theme
I would
and
just
vibe,
find it
ranging
boring.
from large cities of Castleton to the spookier, more atmospheric Carmine Forest. There are also the ruins of an epic battle in the form of the Titan Reach ruins.
Just
and
need to
even
see
the
a bit
tropical forest
more
of Lizard Island, which also
instead of
happens
the
to be
hack and
filled
slash
with
all the
poisonous
time.
flowers. All of
What
those
else
zones
is it
are
giving?
also subject to different weather conditions, as well as a day and night cycle, which can do quite a bit to change the atmosphere of the area. One of the potential downsides of Throne and Liberty is the way in which it has been monetized. A premium currency, Lucent, can be purchased by players, which can then in turn be used to buy things through an in-game shop. The in-game shop, at the time of writing, only features cosmetic items, including outfits and pets. What this means for the game's economy in the future is currently unclear, but
Yeah.
being able to pay real money for items that are otherwise earned in-game certainly
bit
can
like,
be a good sign for the long-term health
FC24,
of an
you know.
The end-game content
Get a
in Throne
leg
and
up.
Liberty is quite lacking, since there isn't much for PvE players to do aside from dungeons. The game revolves more around PvP, with guild versus guild events where player guilds have to battle it out against each other to seize control of boonstones and riftstones. Unfortunately, there really isn't much in the way of raiding content like World of Warcraft or Destiny 2, where players can get together to take on more challenging forms of PvE content, and the dungeons, while fun, tend to fall on the easier side of things. It also
enough.
doesn't help that getting into endgame content can be challenging in and of itself. The grind to get your equipment up to par in order to simply just stay alive beyond a single hit in some of the game's higher leveled zones can be an excruciating experience.
Oh yeah, there's nothing worse than that, is there?
Ultimately,
Build
Throne and
yourself
Liberty
up,
feels
take
quite
ages.
underbaked. The notorious monetization
And
that
you
some
just get
MMORPGs
finished.
are known for tend to leave a bad taste in my mouth. And Throne and Liberty doesn't really offer much reprieve in this regard considering the presence of an in-game shop and historic releases from the region like Lost Ark. The level of grinding required to level up different weapons and roles also feels quite sharp, and if you want to keep things interesting, you'll definitely want to experiment with various weapons. All of that said, however, Throne and Liberty is a gorgeous game that plays fine, and even has a few interesting ideas here and there with regards to combat and exploration.
I mean, attention to detail looks
Hey,
pretty,
did you know that we had
pretty
Gaming Bolt
spot
upload
on.
new videos every day?
All right, well there you go. A little bit of Throne and Liberty. Not normally my go-to game, the MMORG sort of games, but they do have a place, and I do like to get into them. I think from early on, I played a few, and I haven't played many recently. So I just saw this one come up and I thought, is it worth my time? Should I go in it? Have you played it? Have you got it? Let us know in the comments. Yay, nay. Jury's out on that. I'm not sure. I reckon I might get bored after a little while. It looks too repetitive. But I don't know. I could be wrong. Let us know in the comments if that's your thing, your genre. Yeah, let me know. Interested to find out. Alright, well thank you so much for joining me today for a quick gameplay review. And a lot of our regular viewers will be like, what's this about? It's totally different. How do I don't know if you're into that type of thing or not. Let me know in the comments as well. I thought I'd just throw something out there that was different. It's out there at the moment. It's just being released and a lot of people are out there playing it. and I just wanted to see what their views are of it. We'll be back later on for another reaction between me and BB2. Until then, goodbye from me. Bye. What's that doing up there?